All right. Yeah. Hello, party people. Today is 10 paintings in 10 days, day 9, and it is whooping up on me, okay? Um, it is whooping up on me. One more day to look forward to. And I am just here today to share more about this process. If you have clicked on this video and you're like, hey, I've been watching for the other 8, 9, 10 days. I would say, let me get my math together. I've been watching for the other 8 days, and you're a little bit more vibrant than you are today. Well, we are coming to a close on 10 paintings in 10 days. Tomorrow is the last day, and I have a special guest. But I want to say this, the reason that I'm not all hyper and like going in about today is just because it's just it I can feel the weight of today, if I'm completely honest. I've been working through things in this process as I've been painting each day, and I've been navigating my own things as I've been painting. As much fun as I've been having, it has been very I've been very expressive, and I've been very um like into understanding what this painting means and who this painting is for, and the sense of like it's for me first and then it's for others to enjoy. And it's just been very revealing about my process, about where I am, about how I am, about the things that I'm navigating, about my life. And I'm just blown away, if I'm completely honest. But I'm also sad. I'm also very interested in how this all works and how it all connects. And I think I'm getting to understand more and more about how it works and how it connects, and it is causing a lot of like heaviness in my chest. So much so, like today I napped for like 2 hours, and I'm like, man, like I take a 30-minute nap every day, but today it was 2 hours, and I was like, man, like I felt and I feel the weight of today. And so yeah, that's just a little bit of insight before I begin my meditative painting behind me. After the meditative painting, I will be back to share a little bit more with you. I'm going to light my candle and do a little bit of moving y'all a little bit closer so that you can see me a little bit more clear. And I thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful that you are part of my process. I'm so grateful that you're seeing me in process, learning my process. Okay. So thank you so very much. And now we're going to get to it. All right. All right, here we go. Here we go. So, meditative painting is when I meditate on my day and I process my emotions through painting. And so, you're going to watch me meditate and put that on this canvas paper for today. Y'all, I have no idea what's about to. I think I say this often, but I'm really serious when I say it. I don't know what is going to come of this today. So we both will be seeing what this is, okay? We both will see what this is. One second, guys. So what I'm doing now is writing my intention for today down on this piece of paper. All right. All right, here we go. All right, beautiful people. This is coming to a close. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Okay, party people. Woo. Okay, so now it's time for let's talk. Okay, so that is sparkling cider. It is amazing. So let's talk. I'm turning music. So let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So today's day 9 of 10 paintings in 10 days. And if I'm completely honest, it is very emotional, y'all. Like very emotional. So let's just get into the painting first. So what we have here is, and I can give y'all this review before I get off. Voila. I'm so happy. I'm so happy about what I see. All right, so that is today's reveal. Let's see if I can get y'all a little straighter so that y'all can see right there. That is today's reveal. Oh, I'm letting the camera, y'all. Okay. That is today's review. Okay, something is bothering me, y'all. How about this floor? I did something to kind of rig it, and now it's coming up. So let's talk about it. I want to show y'all my socks. My pumpkin socks. Anywho, just distracted myself. Today got real, y'all. Today got real. I almost didn't get on here for day 9. I changed the time to 7:30, probably at 6:30. And I just really am so grateful for the 8 days that I've been doing this. And let's put up today's picture. I'm telling y'all, just bear with me. Please and thank you. And there she is in all of her glory. Okay. So now peripheral. It's just been an emotional day. As it relates to painting. Now, I had a great day. Like I said, I took a 2-hour nap, but I realized that I needed that nap for the sake of just clarity, for the sake of rest. I needed that nap for my sanity. I needed that nap from mothering 2 amazing kiddos. I needed that nap for me. And not, like I said, I take 30-minute naps every day. And I just took a 2-hour one today just to refresh and reboot and think about the process. Like yesterday, I added this to my painting, and I've been working on the bouquet that is in her hand. And this process has been very therapeutic for me, as I've stated. And just very emotional. I am in a place that if I'm completely transparent, I've been trying to avoid talking about on here because I should have just turned the camera on when I was just having a meltdown before the showtime. But I just am in a really beautiful place, but a very hard place. Lots of transitions, transitioning how I do my parenting. Let's call it a transition. I had already, so top of this year, it was a few things I was focusing on. And as the quarters have unfolded, each quarter it was something different. And this right now, they kind of all like stacking on top of each other. And I'm learning my capacity is much more grander, much more deeper, and much more wider than I knew. And I just realized like I can love on a deep level. And in order for me to experience this love that I know I have the capacity to give, that I know I have the capacity to receive, and I wasn't really receiving it in my life at this deep, grand, wide level that I know of, that I could feel it. I can feel the transitions. I can feel the changes. And to go back to the top of the year, so my parenting, how I was parenting my children. And I'm speaking of this because this painting is about me. And I didn't realize this at first. And I knew where I was, but I was just like, oh, it's just gonna overflow into my painting. And I do believe that's what's going on in our hearts. And for me, one of my philosophies as an artist is like, what is in my heart will come out. And I want to give space to that. And in this process, I am having fun. I am doing what I love, but I didn't recognize that it was going to bring up so many emotions the very first day. Like I said, on the phone, 12 o'clock in the morning, not that's foreign for me because I get off the phone. I don't take calls after a certain time. And 12 o'clock in the morning is definitely not the time. Especially when I'm doing a very like a creative project, because I know for me that they're already emotionally, mentally, spiritually taxing. So when I had that reaction on the first day, and that was almost 2 weeks. That's a week ago now. We're like almost Friday would make 2 weeks of this. 10 days, right? 14 days is technically 2 weeks, but 10 days, so about 2 weeks because I took the weekend as well for a break. And the transitions have been my parenting, the transition, and that is hard to parent from a place of awareness of these are going to be human beings one day who have dreams, who have feelings, who have aspirations, who will have their own lives, who I want to see when they go to college or whatever career path they choose, to come back and see their mom, to want to share their wins with me, to want to share their lows with me, to want to talk about the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the friends, the food that they're eating, not just the the highs in the sense of dating someone, but the highs in the sense of I just made a promotion at work and it was based on something that we talked about last week, mom, or what have you. Like it is my desire is that, and I had to go be intentional and set intentions for even my parenting. And it is hard because I had to become in therapy. Me and my therapist talked about how I was parented, and I think I love my parents. And I think two things can be true is that I was parented the way that they were parented, and the way that they parents was parented, and things that were passed down. They made it switch some things, they tweaked it, did the best that they could at the age that they were when they had me and my sister and my sisters. And I realized, like, man, like, y'all did the best that you could, and it hurt me. And some of their reactions to me, some of their um responses, their things that were said, things that were not said, like that all created Sierra and the woman or the girl that I was growing up as, and also the woman that I was being parenting my children. And I think it hit me when I started with my daughter. Like, when I say started, like when I first had my daughter, and I started to do some things that I thought I never would do in my parenting. Like, I didn't like being whooped as a child, like popped. And I was like, I won't do that to my kid. I was the child that needed to be talked to. Like, you could talk to me, and me knowing that you were disappointed in me was enough to make me just cry before you even said anything, right? And I just was that, like, that's how in touch I was with myself. That's how in touch I was with my emotions. And that's just how sensitive I was to disappointment, I would say. And so getting to my daughter, she disappointed me in something that she said or did. And then I would pull out, my hand to pop her. And then immediately it was like, oh, you said you wouldn't do this before, like in my mind. And then it took years for me to realize, like, and of course, she was the only child for 4 years. And so it wasn't a lot that she would do to disappoint me, but it was those moments that I felt like I had no power over her. So I would exert power because over this human. And it took years for me to become consciously aware that that parenting style is not going to get her to come back home to see her mom. That parenting style is not going to, that's going to make her fear me. And it had made her fear me. And so changing the way, she is 6 now, and changing the way that I parent her and changing the way that I see her and I know her and that I am with her has changed tremendously over the course of, like, I would say a year and a half, about a year and a half. And it is been hard because I haven't seen other people do it this way and around, like, in my family. And it's been hard because it's like I knew what I didn't want to do, but I didn't know what to do instead. I knew that I what result I wanted to get, but I didn't know how to get that result. And so, and this connects to my story because I was sexually abused as a child. And so I was abusing my child, like turning into this monster over my child, and I didn't like it, as a child in my own home. But I also didn't like that I didn't have a choice of being tampered with before, without my consent, before ages that I could even understand what's all going on with my body. And so I was like, well, Sierra, as I'm in therapy, and I was not aware of this the whole time, I was like, oh, you don't want to be this person. Like, you may not be doing this to this extreme, because I think there's levels to it, but it's like, but you are doing what was done to you, but in a different manner. And when that came to my awareness, talking to my therapist, I wept. I wept. I was so emotionally torn that I was like, and I promise you, keep listening. It all connects to this picture, in how I'm painting. And so it was one day, my daughter and I were, and she was about 3 or 4, and we were away, totally different state. For the first time ever, me being away from my family, my husband being away from his family, me, her, and him. And it was like I saw her differently. I saw my daughter differently. I saw my husband differently. I saw my life differently. And it was in one of the, and then it was in one of the moments where um I would be painting and my daughter would come in. And I used to be a very like closet painter, if you will, meaning like I didn't want you to know, like I wanted you to know that's what I was doing, but it was almost like you were walking into, like, if you've ever been in a studio and it says on air, do not disturb. I was that person, like, do not come in here with me. I want to paint in my own little closet, like let me be. But it was that one day that I didn't want to punish her for something. She came into my little creative space that I had created in our apartment, and she began to paint with me. And she began to tell me, I want to say she was 4. She told me, like, hey mom, like I really like your art. It is so beautiful. I think you should be an artist. And I was like, whoa, like she's been watching me, because this wasn't the first time, but this is the first time that I allowed her in. And from there, me and her began to paint together. And it started to become something that, backstory, I I've always wanted to be an artist from the time that I can remember, and now I am an artist. Okay, artiste at that. And and at this time, I was battling thoughts that I wasn't worthy to be an artist. Like, I still was thinking about, I need to make money from doing this, and it was like, well, you won't make money from doing this. I was like, my art doesn't look like other people's art. So is it pretty? Is it beautiful? Will people want to look at it? Should I share it? And I would like share it with some friends and text messages and pictures and stuff. But my daughter, the one that I was, quote unquote, being very um aggressive towards, that I got to see her as my, like, equal, if you will. Like, I saw her as, she's my daughter, but I got to see that in that moment she affirmed something in me that she didn't know. And like I told her, like, she knows now, but she didn't know that mom was struggling. Like, I was struggling and wanted to parent her differently. I don't know all the thoughts I was having during the time, but wanted to parent her differently, wanted to find something that we could do together that would bridge this, like be a bridge between us, to help me to become more patient and more kind and more loving and more aware. I don't think I knew about awareness then, but like more in tune with the now than the past, because I was so worried about, like, I need to make money off of this. I need to do this. I need to do that around art, like all of the things around art. And I was reading a lot of books about like how I could heal this part of myself. I had some friends around me at the time who were like, hey, Sierra, you should do the said thing. And I tried to do the thing. And then there was a lot of very negative comments about what I was creating. And so this was just the whirlwind surrounding this. So for her to say to me, hey mom, like, I love this, you should be an artist, it's like, I truly believe God used her to say, hey, I'm going to speak to this thing that you don't even know, that I told her, like, that I'm going to speak to this thing that you don't even know, that you need to be affirmed around, that keep going. And that became a bonding thing for me and my daughter. Like, I have so many videos, but I'm very careful and mindful of what I share of us doing it because that was a sacred time for her and I. And it changed the way that I parented. And that was about, what is this, 2020? That was 2017. So probably 2018, 1920, yes. And that's when I first became aware I wanted to do something different. And so I would fight between these two things of like grapple in my mind about I want to do parenting this way, but I don't see it done this way. I talk to people, I see it done this way, and then I actually later on in that year, I got a job. Well, I got a volunteer position at the Boys and Girls Club where I was the fine arts instructor, volunteer fine arts instructor. And it started to change the way that I bonded with my daughter again. It started to change the way I saw myself as an artist. And another transition in that period was me and my husband's dynamic of how we related to each other. And so I'm going to fast forward. Let me go back. So I got the position at this place. The children affirmed so much things. I feel like all the things I know, all the things I needed. I had a classroom as a volunteer teacher. I had supplies that was like buckets and buckets of supplies that were donated to the organization for me to use with my children. And so because I was a volunteer, my daughter could come to work with me. So it just was so beautiful. And so then we move back and I'm still working on this parenting. I'm pregnant with my son. No, we don't move back yet. I'm pregnant with my son. I have my son. And then I really start to think about my parenting because now I have two children. I'm still painting. I'm still navigating. I'm still I stopped volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club because now I have two children and have a little arm baby. I want to be here with him. We moved to another location in the same state, but another location there. And from there, I began to, like I said, read more, take more transition internally of what I had, take an inventory of what I had going on. I remember reading this book, You Can Heal Your Life. I remember reading Trust. I remember reading what's the other book? Letters to My Daughter. I was all in that place reading and really just doing some internal work to see where I was and to want to change because I knew I was like there's some things in me that I need to, work through so I can be the best parent. And not the best parent in the sense of going to get everything right, but that I can be a great aware version of me so I don't press onto my children what was done to me, or I don't unconsciously do things and navigate from a place that is very hurtful. That, like I said, my end goal is for my children to be able to want to come home, want to talk to me, want to be my friend, and that's even something to investigate for me, and wanting to and be amazing, loving, kind humans. Because that they were able to bump up against me and my husband in our household, and they were able to see how kind we were to them, how loving and affirming. And for my daughter, it's very important that I allow her to speak up and say what she needs to say, and I not squander that. And for my son, it's very important that I cultivate and am cultivating an environment that allows him to have every emotion that he has. And so I said all of that to say, like, those have been transitions that were already happening. And then years passed, still doing internal work, still pursuing myself, pursuing creativity in different ways. And then let's fast forward, and there's a lot that I can say in between there, but I'll fast forward to this year. Transitioned from saying my husband to my partner, because there was a lot of things that I was associating with husband, and for some reason I couldn't separate that. I am responsible for me, he is responsible for him, and together we are living this life where we get to support one another and love one another, be kind to one another, see one another, get to know one another, be friends with one another. And when I was saying husband, there was this dynamic in my mind that I needed to shift around that. This is my friend. This is not my dad, because he was dad for some years. This is not my Lord, because he was Lord for some years. This is not my keeper. Like this, like I am, and him and I are here, not here. Sometimes I'm walking in the front because there's things that I may be aware of that he's not aware of. Sometimes he's walking in the front, but we're never it's hardly ever a time where where one person just rocks the front. Like, I'm the head of this pack all the time. And we interchange that. And what our foundation was some things that we were taught in church. And so then from there, it got to a space where I just, like I said, he was Lord, he was dad, he was keeper, he was just not my partner, someone who's supporting me, someone who is there to be my friend, love on me, see me, and just be in my life and help me and support me in raising our children. And so I stopped saying husband and I started saying partner. That was one transition. And then that really, I still say husband interchangeably now because I've accepted and navigated so much of that I know who he is. Like, I'm aware of who he is. And if I slip back into it, then I start back saying partner again. But then there's another aspect. So that's one transition that was made this year. Another transition is my mindset around money. And I'm telling you, that's in transition. Okay. In transition. And I think it always will be. All of these parts of me, I don't think they're just done. I think they're just continue to evolve. And that took a lot. That took a lot. Like, I had a job this year, more than one job. I still work. I have Shipped that I do, which is a grocery service. Amazing. This is not an ad, but if you if you need a grocery service to deliver groceries to your home, they'll go shop for you. They will, even if you have an amazing one like me, amazing shopper like me, they will send you substitute pictures in case your item is not available. And they will also suggest things, as well. Say, hey, I don't see this, but I see this. And they will keep in constant communication with you until your items are delivered to your home. And so, very great company. Their values, most of their values align with my own. And so I decided to opt into this company. And so I said that, like, so having a job, and I hadn't had a job in years. And so getting out, that was a transition. And that was a transition and still is a transition. And then what else? I should have written these down, and I do, and I just didn't bring my tablet up here. My mindset around my sexuality has changed, and it is still changing, I should say. And it's just amazing how many things that I did not know about my body, that I was not aware of, that was happening, I was navigating, that because of the sexual assault at a young age, that I didn't even want to talk about, think about, touch, or even become aware of. And so that has been a transition. Um, what else? And now, like, I'll be going to the gym and stuff early mornings, and that's a whole different talk. But it's like the way I look at my body, see my body as this shell that I am carrying around, and I get to share my gifts with the world. Like, so much is changing around that. My spirit, the way I think of God has changed and still changing. What else? Like, friendships and how I review my relationships. Like, if you cannot tell from the picture, if you don't know, I'm going to start sharing about that. But this is a community this is a community that grew from her tears, the flowers, and now she's carrying this community, and these tears will be tears of joy. But I'm sharing all of this with you to share that, and there's more that I could share and go very, very deep with, but I'm just kind of giving you surface level here. Not really surface level, but I'm not gonna say all of the things. But one thing I do want to say before I jump into the painting, I'm at an hour and 3, so it won't be a lot of painting tonight. I just want to kind of go into this stuff because it gives you the understanding of where this painting is resonating from, right? And you get to meet me, more of me, and where I am in my life right now, and um help you just to see me. And because my intention is to just be completely honest and transparent. So the other transitions I would say that have been happening are um with this concept. And I feel like right now life is teaching me, and this is hard. Life is just teaching me to be still and not chase. But allow things to come to me, allow people to come to me, allow experiences to come to me. And it's very hard. Um, because growing up, I really, really learned to chase. especially growing up after, like I said, and this is a different talk for a different day. After this 10 paintings, I'm going to just go ahead and give you this. If you are in this part of the recording, like, I'm going to tell my story right here on this channel from this corner over here. It's going to be nice, decorated, and I'm going to tell my story. But for the sake of this, I'll say, like, sexual assault is no joke. Like, no joke. It changes you. It changes you. It changes you like no other thing I can think of. I've had a child that changed me in so many beautiful ways. I just kind of gave you a few example. I'm married. I went from single to married. That changed me in such a beautiful way. But also some things that I won't say I cannot, I choose not to do. And with my children, in the way like things I choose not to do, things I do choose to do, the intentionality that comes with both of those changes. I went from one size to a different size. That is a change, very different change for me, very uncomfortable change for me. But I'm learning to accept that my body is where it is. I've given birth to two children by way of C-section and vaginal, and this is how it goes. And I'm not pushing myself to say, hey, like even saying about the gym, I'm going to go to the gym, but that is for my energy levels, and that is for some other stuff, but not necessarily to say I'm going to work on my body. The other stuff is my libido, because I said that I was gonna uh, be completely honest and transparent. So working on my sex drive, okay? So there's that. And then as it relates to those transitions and those changes, like I said, there's no change that I have ever experienced that's the change of being sexually assaulted as a child. And it one of the things that it taught me, unpacking it all, therapy is amazing, prayer is amazing, community is amazing, talking it out, voice notes, painting is amazing, expressing yourself is amazing. Whichever way, shape, form, or fashion, express yourself. I'm talking to a specific woman who has, I cannot speak for me because I'm not a man, but I think the experience may be some similar. It changes you. And it one of the things that it taught me as I was unpacking is to chase things because something is wrong with me. This is before therapy, in therapy, and learning, after learning like what the different things that I believed because of that. And so I'm gonna say, from now I'm gonna say SA, which will stand for sexually assaulted. And so, or sexual assault. And so as I began to interact with myself, I have a podcast called The Journey Back to You. And I am going to eventually exclusively turn that into something different than what I'm doing now. Because what I realized is, like I said, SA really changes you. And I say really with the emphasis on like how you think of yourself, the shame, the guilt, the self-betrayal, the unconscious chasing, which is what I really want to talk about, the blame, like I said, the shame and the frustrations. And it's like carrying that young and not knowing that you're chasing people to approve of you because you're like, I'm dirty, I'm nasty, like I've been, touched, like, and then chasing, if it's from some people, they chase sex because that's the way that their bodies respond. Some of us, we're chasing, and I would say chasing, we're pushing things down and suppressing things because we don't want that to be seen. Because is that normal? Is this because of this, because of SA, or is this because of it, because of the way that I see myself, and not being conscious that we see ourselves from a very, very broken filter, from a filtered that is broken. So many filters we're looking through: shame, we're looking through guilt, we're looking through self-betrayal, we are looking through the lens of grief. We are looking through, because my life was this way and now it's something different. And so that chase has been hard for me. And to sit in the space and sit here and tell you that haven't been chasing, I have. Like, people, experiences, things, material things, chasing God, chasing love, chasing soberness, chasing drunkenness, chasing promiscuity, chasing acceptance. And out of all of the things I said, it's like what I realized and have come to terms with is life is teaching me now, be still. Be still. And the more that I chased, the further and further that thing got away. The more that I chased smoking when I did, the more and more I wanted it, and the further and further I was away from myself, and further away I was from being sober. The more that I like chased, because I used to have like this sneaker thing. I wanted them all, and I had most of them, especially when I was in the military. But like chasing this acceptance from and by way of shoes, clothes, nails, hair, fashion, anything you can. I don't say anything, most things that you can name. But it's like now, like it's the chase wasn't easy, but it felt easy for me than to stay still and deal with me. And it's been I would say about 10 years now, more than 10, but 10 years at the least, of me getting back to myself, of me really sitting to accept that story, that chapter is a part of my story, but I get to use painting, I get to use creativity, and this is not a way to suppress, but this is a way to express. I think that don't suppress, express in any way that you can, screaming from the mountaintops. As much as you need to say it, and be still. And I say this with much compassion and much love. It's going to take support. You need support. If you don't have anything that you ground yourself in spiritually, find something. And I'm not going to suggest to you one way or the other. Find something to ground you, and find someone to support you, therapist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, whatever way, some type of not some type of a doctor who is meant to do that. Get connected to some type of community. But even that, all of that, and I'm giving these suggestions, they're all very scary for a person who doesn't even trust themselves, for a person who doesn't see themselves as themselves, but are disassociating and getting out of their body because they don't want to feel certain things. I'm sharing all of that to say, like, this transition has been so hard, and so draining some days. And I know on the other side of this, and as I have painted and I am continuing to paint, there's so much beauty. Like I knew people would come here to watch Today 9 video, and I'm going to spend most of my time talking about this because I realized, like, is it needs to be said. And it's one of the reasons that I started creating. It's one of the reasons that I paint. It's one of the reasons that I express myself the way that I do. It's like, because I want another person to hear and understand, like, you are never alone. No, never. And that if I've been through it and I am here today to share this and talk about this the way that I am, you one day, as you find your community, as you decide to, trust yourself, as you decide that this is not going to be my life, and as you decide to pull yourself out of the hole until you can get to someone's hand, whether that's therapy, whether that is, whatever works for you, in the sense of connecting to people so that they can see you, so they can understand. Because that's another thing about it too. It's like, you don't feel like people can hear you. Sometimes you feel invisible. Sometimes, like, it is so many things to unpack. And like I said, I'm going to share my story here, right here on my channel. And we're going to sit in this corner over here, nice and beautiful. And I'm going to share with y'all, because I think more people, if they understood, then some people wouldn't look at women as and I don't know, because there will be a select few who would change the way that they view women, change the way that they view when people talk about the hurt that they're enduring and how they keep rehashing out their story. And you're like, you've been talking about this. How long are you going to keep talking about this? It's like, until someone gets it and they decide to change their life, to say, hey, I'm going to stay here. I'm worth it, until their self-worth changes. And so, yeah, the picture, because I could go on, and it is worth going on. But for the sake of this, I want to say that the picture that I'm painting is a picture of me. And as I go through different changes, and have been going through different changes, I am holding on to my community. I'm holding on to sisterhood. I am looking forward to more sisterhood. I am I've let go of a lot, so much. And that's something I can even talk about. Letting go of a lot, being patient, allowing time to be my ally, allowing time to unfold, allowing my life to unfold, receiving, which was something I wasn't comfortable with receiving. I was used to being taken from. Like my story told me, let people take from you. And changing that narrative has been hard as F, okay? F bomb, F bomb, F bomb. Like it has been hard. And as I continue to navigate this, I'm like, man, like I didn't think that this was what this painting was going to turn into. I did not. So let's get to the painting. We have a few, like 15 more minutes or so here, but let's turn to the painting. I said I was going to upload y'all something today, but I saved it because, like I said, I was having such an emotional response to this process that I am gonna get it to y'all. I promise I'm going to record myself painting for tonight and give you a little something since it's towards the end. So here we are. All right. So the process, the story is first she was bare naked and she was holding a heart. And the thing this around her is love. This is the spirit of God that is watching over her, and this is her eyes watching God and being guided by God. And she was holding on to her heart. I think the next phase of it was her heart was broken. So that was broken. She started to cry, and her thoughts were like being formed, like she had different thoughts. And so they were black. There were emotions, which you can see one, two of them, and there were eyes watching her in her mind. Or some people see this as her thoughts. So you can, whichever one resonates with you, totally fine. It's art. You get to choose what you see. I'm just telling you what my intents were, like what I intended it to be. Um, and so her eyes watered the soil on the ground, and from that, her a garden was born. Few flowers here, which are going to get painted, and the skrillies that you see here are on top of her heart, which she's no longer holding on to her heart. The beautiful, amazing thing that I'm so excited about is that yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but um she's holding a bouquet of flowers, which represents that she's holding on to her community. She's holding on to sisterhood. She's holding on to connection. She's no longer holding on to her broken heart because she is surrounded by love. And so the next part of this painting is going to be me painting a sleeve here. A sleeve. Um, I think that's what that's going to be. I think it's going to be a sleeve. But oh, the other part I didn't share with you is that she is now planted. She is planted and rooted in who she is. She is in full acceptance of who she is. She is bald. So this is not hair. This is her mind. She is bald because she has cut and let go of so many things, and she is waiting to receive her new bundles. Okay, her new bundles, because she might get a wig or something. Okay, or she's letting her hair grow out, but she might get a wig. She might be doing a little something, a little razzle dazzle. But she is bald. This is not hair. This is her mind. Her mind became a garden. I didn't share that part, and so that's what that is. And she is now rooted, and so if you look at it, she has become a tree planted. Okay. And she so much so that there's vines that are growing on her. So the part that I'm doing tonight, which I said I'll do on here till we get to about an hour and 30, I'm going to paint these flowers in, and I am going to paint these flowers in, give these vines some looks, and yeah. There's another piece to this as well that I know and I'm aware about, but I'm like, I don't even know how that go on here. But so we're gonna paint this for now. Thank you so much for listening. If you have listened this far, I'm super grateful for your ears. If there's any comments or anything you have to ask that you were willing to ask, you can either put it in the comment section, or if it's some personal, my email address is my first name, my last name, same as my Instagram handle, sierra.casher@gmail.com. Send it to my email. I would love to talk to you. expand. If you don't want to email me, go to Instagram, same handle, Sierra.Casher. You'll find me there and we will be able to chat and carry this conversation into the DMs. So I'm gonna hit the music a little. Well, I'm gonna turn on my music, so I'm gonna mute y'all, and you won't be able to hear my music. Turn my music on, and I'm gonna begin to paint her. Okay, and thank y'all so very much. This is day 9 of 10 paintings in 10 days. Tomorrow is the last day, but not the least day. Okay, there's gonna be a special guest that's gonna come to be with us on here, and you want to tune in because you want to tune in. Okay, there's a special guest that'll be here with me who will be painting alongside me. So here we go. All right, beautiful people. You can't see me right there, probably. But all right, beautiful people. Let's see. Let's see if this works. All right, beautiful people. So I am going to finish up here. What I did was add this to the picture, color those flowers. I colored some of those flowers. I'm going to continue to color flowers just to my music. I'm going to turn on the Zoom for real this time, y'all, because last time I did not. And I'm going to record myself as I finish painting this, and I will share it at least by tomorrow this time. You will have a video. Gonna go check and see what the kiddos are doing with my husband. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you again for the finale tomorrow. Tomorrow, finale, all right? 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be right here with the special guest who is going to be painting alongside me. All right. Bye, guys.